If you have ever played GTA Online, there is a basically 100% chance of you having been in this situation before. You are chilling in Los Santos, just minding your own business, watching the city skyline from your own office, driving around with one of the tens, if not hundreds of cars that you own, or just having fun with your friends in the Diamond Casino. And then, all of a sudden, you get the idea to go for a drive to Palito Bay, whether you just want to go and see the wilderness, or you were just a cheap who decided to buy themselves the cheapest business. It doesn't really matter, because either way, you are now left with 3 different ways of getting there. You either take the Great Ocean Highway route, with scenic views to the Pacific coast, the Sonora Freeway route crossing through the Grand Sonora Desert, or ditch your car completely and choose to go there by a plane. But the question that has been in all of your minds for years is that which of these options is then actually the fastest? And well, luckily for you guys, at the end of this video, we will have an answer for that. First of all, let's go over the rules of today's experiment. Firstly, the starting point for all 3 routes is in the Jetsam terminal in the LS port, as this is basically the furthest you could possibly be from the Palito Bay area. Secondly, the finish line will be the bunker just south of Palito Bay, because realistically this is as far north as anyone would ever need to go on the GTA 5 map. So no, we will not go to the northest possible point on the map, somewhere on a little island that you most likely have never ever been to in your entire life. For the vehicle, we will be using the Italy GTO, as this is one of the more used personal vehicles in the game, therefore also giving us the most realistic outcome. The traffic will be turned on to also give the realest results. And finally, for the air route, we will be taking the Laser P996 military jet. Anyways, let's start off with the 3 different routes. The first one we will be taking is the Great Ocean Highway route. This will at first follow the Buccaneer Way out of the terminal, smoothly going over to Popular Street. Then we take a quick turn to El Rancho Boulevard, only to go on the Elysian Fields and Del Barrio Freeway, which will smoothly take us out of the city onto the Great Ocean Highway. And as we start taking off from the terminal, it should be noted that this option should be considered the risky route. And what I mean by that is, although in the city we are following a fairly straight and wide freeway which takes us out of the city quite easily, then when it comes to the actual highway itself, it is a bit more tricky. If you haven't yet realized in the 12 years that the game has been out, then the Great Ocean Highway is not a 4 or 6 lane motorway like the routes that go across the desert. Most of the time the route only has 2 different lanes, one for each direction, and that makes the driving there a little bit harder. You have to be a lot more careful with the traffic, as there is a lot less space for you to overtake other cars. And there is also a lot more different tight turns that you will not find on the other routes, making it even more risky to take this path. On the upside, the route itself is considerably shorter, as it lies on the same side of the map with Palito Bay and doesn't require you to drive across the whole map diagonally. Anyways, as you can see, the time it took me to reach the bunker of Palito Bay came out to be 4 minutes and 37 seconds. But let's see how this time will compare to the second land route we will be taking on, aka the Sonora Freeway route. This route will also follow the Buccaneer Way out of the terminal, which will smoothly go over to Popular Street. We will go all the way up Popular Street and then turn straight to the Los Santos Freeway. That will lead us out of the city from in front of the Diamond Casino and Resorts. And then we will finally arrive in Palito Bay via the Sonora Freeway in the desert and in the north. As we are taking off to take this route, let's also count the ups and downs of it. Now, the obvious downside is that this route will be a little bit longer. It will start from quite the eastern end of Los Santos, where the Diamond Casino lies, then go all the way across the eastern side of the map, crossing both the Grand Sonora Desert and Grapeseed, only to then continue on the other side of Mount Chiliad and finally also cross Palito Bay itself to arrive at our bunker. Now fortunately, there are also big upsides that outweigh the downsides, and the main upside of this route is just how straight it is. There is no tight turns whatsoever, which lowers the risk of you crashing your car into the ocean. The whole route is also basically all a huge motorway with at least 4 lanes, which makes taking over traffic extremely easy and gives you a huge boost in terms of speed. It's only the very end part of the Palomino Highway and going through Palito Bay that the roads will get a bit narrower, which of course means more traffic. Anyways, as you can see, the time for this route came out to be 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Therefore, it is also the faster out of the 2 land routes, beating the Great Ocean Highway route by 7 seconds in total. But that isn't the end of it. There is yet another way of getting to Palito Bay, which is very heavily rivaling the fastest of the land routes, and that is of course the air route. All of you watching probably realize that if we would just compare a car and an airplane taking the same route, every airplane would easily win. But in GTA Free Mode, getting an aircraft doesn't come without complications. While you can get your car delivered to you basically wherever you happen to be on the GTA 5 map, then aircrafts have very specific locations that they can actually spawn to. And this often gives the edge to the car in a lot of situations. But is the flight to Palito Bay long enough to take this edge away from the land pathways? Well, let's find out. Our final route will also start from the Jetsam terminal, but unlike the land routes, our first destination is actually the LSIA, which is where most of the time GTA players would be picking their aircrafts from. And from the LSIA, it will be a straight flight to Palito Bay. Once we are close to the bunker, we will jump out of the aircraft and land to the actual bunker itself. And so let's also start off with this route. Just like with the first 2 routes, we will be taking the Buccaneer Way out of the terminal and go straight along the popular street. But then on the first crossway, we will actually turn left to the Touch London Street, taking us straight to the entrance of the LSIA. Once we arrive in the LSIA, we will take our jet parked inside the Dev Investor hangar. And now it is just a straight flight across the western coast to Palito Bay. This route's plus side is obviously the fact that we for the most part don't have to follow highway paths and don't have to watch out for the traffic. It is also best to get some height for your flight, because as we know in GTA your aircraft is a bit faster on the higher altitudes. But the major downside of this route is of course the fact that at first you have to go to a completely opposite direction to actually get to your jet at the first place. Now, I know that there are a lot of different spawn locations for your own personal aircrafts, but for the sake of this video, it was best to choose to first drive to the LSIA, as this is the place where people would most likely consider taking the jet to Palito Bay. And if we would have stood at one of the aircraft spawn locations at the start, then it would have been an obvious win for the jet. But most of the time this isn't the case, and as we are closing in on Palito Bay, let's try to land to the actual bunker itself. And as we can see, the time it took us came out to be 4 minutes and 32 seconds, which just about loses to the Sonora Freeway route being only 2 seconds slower. And that makes the Sonora Freeway route also the winner of this video. But in all honesty, the fastest route to Palito Bay largely depends on where in the city you exactly are. If you are on the western end of Los Santos near the Vespucci Beach, it is most likely the Great Ocean Highway that takes you to Palito Bay the fastest. Especially if you are driving a car with great traction in corners, so that you don't have to brake too much. If you are somewhere close to a personal aircraft spawn location or close to the LSIA, it is definitely the fastest route to go by a jet. Just keep in mind to also fly at a higher altitude for maximum speed. And if you are basically anywhere else in the town, it is most likely that the Sonora Freeway is your fastest route. As we found out, whichever route you actually decide to take, the loss of time isn't very big, as the fastest and slowest route's time difference was literally just 7 seconds. This actually also shows just how well the GTA 5 map has really been developed. All 3 main routes have different advantages over the other ones, which makes the drive to the other end of the map always feel a bit more unique. Because imagine if there was one route that would be the fastest from all points of the city. It would 99% of the time be the one route that you would use, making it boring a lot faster. But giving players a different variety of routes to take depending on the exact location they need to go makes the map itself feel a lot larger and unique than it actually is. Which is only a good thing for the overall gaming experience of Grand Theft Auto. But which route do you usually take to Palito Bay? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to also check out my other documentaries about the GTA universe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.